Jolicoeur. Welcome to Let's Talk About History. I'm a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution Faith Trumbull chapter located at 42 Rockwell Street in Norwich, Connecticut. We are patriotic, and we are an organization, a women's organization, who emphasize on education and patriotism, and women 18 years of age and older who are interested in becoming a member, who have an ancestor that has been served or assisted in the Revolutionary War of 1776 are eligible for membership. Welcome to today's show. As my guest today, I have Dr. Louis Randall. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Hello.
Dr. Randall is a tribal member of the Pequot tribe. He has an Indian name, which is Quiet Thunder. And I have a few questions I would love to ask Dr. Randall, Rolling Thunder. Now, there are different tribes all along New England. There is the Mohegan, the Narragansett, and the Cree in Canada. You're from the Pequot tribe.
The Eastern Pequot tribal nation.
Yes. Where are they located in New England?
They're located in North Stonington, where their reservation is located, and it's been occupied over 300 years.
Mm-hmm. So, were they a roaming tribe? Did they settle near a water area, or were they inland forest tribe?
Well, basically it was a combination of both. First of all, if you're doing hunting,
Mm-hmm.
and you're, of course, in the forest area, but also a lot of clamming and fishing. So wherever the means of substances, as far as food,
Mm-hmm.
that is dictates. But then again, a lot of times when they first were located in Connecticut and on the East Coast, they had the roaming area. In other words, there's no one interfering until the Europeans came and disrupted that type of flow of activity.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so now why did they tend to roam? Were they going to a better area that was a better weather, or they?
Well, in this case, it was a matter of the area being suitable for their needs at the time. When they roamed, it was basically to sustain themselves. In this area, you had your, as I said, you had your ocean, you had your claiming area as far as fishing, and you had game, whether it was deer. So basically, they are located in North Stonington area, Mystic, and therefore there wasn't that much roaming per se, unless they were forced to move.
Mm-hmm. So, what kind of tools were used for cutting wood or starting fire?
Well, way back when they used the stone tools that they made themselves, that was one means of making things and also cutting things and developing their means of transportation, whether it was a canoe or what have you. But then once they got associated with the Europeans, who were able to bring in metal types of tools, that sort of changed when they used to trade and barter for the various activities that encompassed. For example, it was easier to cut with an axe than it was to be using a stone tool.
So they would make these axes out of stone?
No, originally that would be the means, but once they got involved with trading, with the English or the Dutch or what have you, they were able to acquire from them the metal tools.
Now, I have something here that, you know, a lot of people when they're looking in their backyards or in old reservations like Fort Shantok, you can come across, now this looks like a little arrow. Could this have been used maybe really to, you know, do hunting or?
Yes, that could have definitely been used for that.
It's
Also, used
carved
for,
into
sometimes they could spearfish, with that means too. Yeah.
So what were some of the spices? Did they use spices here in America?
They acquired spices from the new settlers, but most of the spices or ingredients that were used were natural, right from the berries, the different berries that were used, honey that were acquired from the trees, those types of things, and the various vegetation that was used for food. And they had various types of combinations to acquire that for their own personal taste.
Right. So now, what do the feathers represent in the headdress?
Well, this particular
Your headdress
headdress
is beautiful. I was wondering, could you tell me what the feathers
Yeah,
represent?
the basic feathers on the headdress is the wild turkey feathers. They're actually wild turkey feathers. And then there are some body feathers from the turkey, which is located on it. And the white feathers are basically other birds, where the seagulls. And some of the fur is located is from an otter. And then there's some embedded wampum, which is made out of shells. That is part of it.
Did it represent if you were head of a tribe, that type of headdress?
This type of headdress was used in a leadership role, and that was something that was used throughout New England in the northern area to represent leadership.
Were they usually friendly with other tribes, the Narragansetts in Rhode Island or the Mohegans?
There were times when
this area?
there were squabbles, perhaps, and there were times when there was the process of control. Of course, the Pequots were known as one of the strongest tribes up until, say, 1637, when there was a united front to sort of disrupt and actually destroy that power base.
Okay. Now, if there were wars between tribes, different face paint, did that represent any different colors? Did it represent like folklore we've heard? War paint?
Sometimes it was a matter of their own particular taste or costume, in the sense of marking up their faces. Sometimes it was a matter of trying to look more ferocious, I would think, and that type of thing. And basically
where
what was
would they
available.
get the paints from? Would it be from fruits and berries?
Yeah, to make their own, and fruits were used, whether it's the blueberries, the raspberries, whatever, the different colors.
So it was an actual paint.
That they actually made out of a means of develop their own paste. Might have been a combination of other substances to create it.
What were some of the main meals that the families would have?
Well, I would assume deer, of course, was one of the main substances that was used as far as game. On the other hand, you had your wild turkeys, pheasants. That was part of it. You had your clamming activities that was along the shore, and that was also part of the food that was used. And of course, the basic berries and the various types of vegetation. Some people, I grew up in Norwich, and my mother always provided meals that sometimes contain dandelions. A lot of people don't understand, but dandelion is a vegetable that was very nourishing, and that type of vegetation was used.
Okay. So now, is it true that, I know you're speaking of your mother, but you have a cousin that dances Indian dance?
Oh, yeah, I have a cousin, yeah.
Is it true that different dances represented different ceremonies?
In some cases, and sometimes it represented different parts of the country. Other tribes have different dances. In the East, we're known for our Eastern blanket dance, which is a dance which is used with various formations of a blanket, which tries to and tells a story.
Now, is it also true that there's a difference between a woodland tribe that lives in the forest and the deep forest, and the tribes that are mostly near water or an open area?
Well,
I know that there's numerous tribes all located all throughout North America. And all throughout Canada and South America into Arizona, and some of the geographic areas are completely different. You have deserts and and forests. So there were different types of tribes, wasn't there?
Well, it depends on the area, of course. As you go further north and into Canada, of course, you have your ice fishing types of activities, and basic thing was substance of food,
So it
how
was
to survival.
And they did use teepees.
Well, teepees per se, in many areas. In our area, we're used to having long houses in cabin type activity as far as the place to live. Teepees also were used in other areas where they actually able to break the teepee down and carry it for travel. We've had powwows where people have come from Wisconsin, say, and set up their teepee on our reservation as a place to live.
So now I've heard some of the herbs were used for healing purposes. Sage and different herbs. Medicine, there was a medicine man, wasn't there?
There was a medicine man in a sense. He had also
they would have a packet of herbs that would be used for
that, and a lot of time, of course, of faith and substance as far as using some of those same types of herbs are being used today by and understood by our own up-to-date medical profession. And sometimes
like homeopathic medicine,
yes.
They used natural herbs, ingredients. So now, religion, was there a certain religion that most tribes tended to believe in? Did it consist of earthly, spiritual?